Hi guys, welcome to the third day of TAC 2021, and we are going to start with the keynote. And I'm having with me Ardita. She was with us before pandemic. So 2019 she was in Bangalore, and it was a nice time we had together.
Yeah.
So Ardita is having 2 decades of presence in this industry, worked with many organizations from startup to government, different markets. He has worked like different domains, insurance, banking, retail, entertainment, and has worked with different sizes like large scale transformation and all. Worked with many leaders also. And she is very much focused on that product management side. So help the lots of product companies on that side, right? And presently, she is working as a president at Industrial Logic, Canada, and she is from there. Uh, Came early morning for us, right? So yeah, that's all I could like to tell about her, and she will be here to enlighten us lots of things on the topic that she is going to cover. So over to you, Ardita.
Thank you, Vinay, and hi everyone. It's really exciting to be back to this group. I really enjoyed my time previously on the conference 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Time now it seems blurry, but happy to be back. Happy to see you. Would have been great to meet face to face, but this is the best we can get for where we are. I am going to start presenting, and I will start. Hope you can see my screen. I'm going to talk to you about two organizations. I'm going to tell a story. While the topic is about the fact that you need to create your own handbook for your organization, I'm going to tell you the story of two organizations that I worked with, and I have seen close, and I had that insight view and observation. It's two stories, two companies that are in the same market, in the same country, under the same regulations, with access to the same talent, the same people, the same resources, right? And they are also very similar. They are very old organizations, have been here in Canada for a very long time, very big sizes, like 80,000 people or more, 150 years old. They are so important and so big, and they have been around for so long that they are too big to fail. And we have that concept here where the government actually helps these organizations to stay in business. If they go in trouble, the government actually comes and saves them because they are too big to fail, because 80,000 people would be without a job if they close, right? So these two companies, I want to start a little bit with some ratings, with some numbers to understand where they are. Before 2019, I'm going to call them, by the way, Thing 1 and Thing 2, Company 1 and Company 2. So you're going to see these two little guys showing up all the time. So before 2019, the customer satisfaction index rating coming from JD Power, the Company 1 was 784 points, while the Company 2 was 789 points. So as you can see, the second company was leading by 5 points. However, after the pandemic, with all the changes, with all the disruptions, with everything we had to deal with, they changed these numbers, and we are into Company 1 leading by 790 points. As you can see, a 10-point increase on customer satisfaction. And the Company 2 only by 1 point, from 789 to 790, right? So very little. And you can see how now the Company 1 leading ahead by 9 points during a very difficult time, during a very big disruption that we had. Another organization that does excellence awards, again related to customer service, Ipsos, based on their results, Company One was leading both in 2019 and in 2020. So they're leading in customer service excellence and recommended to friends and family, right? Another report, another numbers to start looking at is the Glassdoor. You probably are all familiar with Glassdoor. It is an organization that, it is a site that offers organizations an opportunity to get that direct feedback from their employees. People that have worked there or people that are still working there, they can go and rate their organization. And you can see how the first company is rating. Very high on recommending to a friend, right? That NPS, Net Promoter Score. The CEO approval is 95%, and the positive business outlook is really high as well. While the second company has a lower recommendation to friend, a lower CEO approval, and a lower positive business outlook, right? And you can see even some of these numbers here a little lower with more details and everything. But if you look from the employee's point of view, the first company is sort of doing better and has a higher approval. So these are numbers, these are reports, nothing from me to bring in here. I just went online and I searched about these two companies. Here are some of the things that I observed after 1 year of disruption. The Company One, they are still in business. They made billions, right? These are big companies. They don't make millions, they make billions. They grew a lot in talent. A lot of great people started working for them. They hired, they got some really, really talented people joining them. It's a culture that looks beyond frameworks. They are not looking for, oh, are we doing Scrum? Are we doing Kanban? Are we doing DevOps? They do it all. They do what matters. They do what fits for them. So they're not fixated in a framework. Business and technology call each other partners, right? They are very collaborative together. They work very well together, close with each other. Digital area delivers many times a day, right? We're saying like many 10, 15 days in production. And there are more teams that are seeing that value and they're saying, okay, we want that. And they're trying to get in there. So more and more teams and more groups of teams like journeys are getting into these practices. The leadership is leading with Agile, right? They're not just talking. They're not just making the service, but they are actually leading. They have embraced, and they are very good examples of working as leaders with Agile teams. When it comes to working with large consultant firms, they have worked with those and they bring them here and there, but they are 2 years ahead when it comes to what these consultancies go and share with the other organizations, right? So in a certain way, consultancies learn from this organization on what they did, how they did it, how they evolved. The Agile practices are the default. So nobody is thinking, oh, is this a waterfall? Is an Agile? There is a lot of Agile practices that are put in place and nobody cares anymore if this is Scrum, if this is Kanban. Again, it's normal to work with Agile practices and it has become like a default way of working. This is now, let's look into the second company, 1 year after COVID. What happened there? They still also are in business, right? They didn't go bankrupt. They didn't lose business. They are still making billions as well. And when it comes to comparing the money, the revenues from both organizations, it's kind of hard to say who made more, because depending on how you slice and dice, in some kind of reports, the company one is made more than company two, and in some other reports, company two made more than company one. So I'm going to say that both of them made billions. They both are doing well. They're both in business. However, company two lost talent. A lot of people left, a lot of people quit. And the spots that were left empty when these people left, they had a hard time filling them, and they had a hard time finding new people to come and join them. I have even spoken with people that still work there, and they are looking for opportunities. They're not happy. They want to find something else. Technology calls business their client. It is really very much a shop where technology takes order from business, and they say we need to make our client happy. And by client, they mean another area of the same company that is called the business, right? They are on the second wave of implementing their own framework. They started many years ago. They started creating their own framework on how to deliver. And that framework is very much Scrum based. And they had this approach where they would say either a project will be a waterfall or will be agile. And if you are agile, you will follow Scrum, you will follow these rules here. What they found there was that while this works on a team, now we need to bring it a little bit higher in a program, portfolio, and even probably a group level. So they are now in that wave of, okay, let's create now a framework to help us for these larger initiatives, right? And they're creating their own. They're not, they're taking Scrum and SAFe and some of these frameworks that we know, and they are implementing them rigorously, right, by the book. They hired some large organizations, just like the other company, right? Everybody counts on consultants and brings them in. So they hired a large organization, a large consultancy firm, to bring to them and implement the concept of journeys and the product model. So the need to move from project to product. So they are in that phase now with consultants. They are still doing quarterly or monthly releases and aiming to improve and aiming to do more and more often. Still are that they have that difference between a waterfall agile. What are you? Are you a waterfall? And unfortunately, there are a lot of waterfall projects. And what are you, an agile? And how are you following on these practices, right? Improvements are very hard to make. I have to tell you myself, when I was there, a very small improvement took 4 months. And it took 4 months because I insisted and I kept bringing it out and bringing. It got even escalated to the point that they couldn't resist anymore. It was very clear in their face, and they made that change. If people are busy, if people are have a lot of other things in hand, they would not follow up and be so insisting into making a change because it's so hard. And a lot of good ideas don't move forward because it is so hard to make these changes and to bring them forward. The leadership has just started using for themselves agile practices. So until now has been just get my teams to do agile. Now it's becoming a bit more visible that the leadership also needs to embrace this. So with all of this being said, I want to take a pause for a second, and I want to say, think of, with all the information that I just gave you, I just started with a story, I gave you the information for 2 organizations. Imagine you right now have an offer to work for both companies. both of these companies have made you an offer and they said, we want you to come and work with us. Which one will you accept? Which offer? Show me some hands or type on the chat. One. Nobody wants to work for the second company? Company 2, because we have scope to improve. Okay, I like one point of view, looking for opportunities. Yeah. So it seems like a lot of ones. As a coach, company 2. I want to change company 2. Yeah. But what if you are hired as a developer? What if you are hired as a manager? Which one would you go? Imagine you're not a coach. You will be working there. Yeah, as a developer on company 1. Yeah. Company 2 actually implementing. Yeah. Well, as you can see, there are some opportunities on both companies, right? And if you want to, if you are thinking that this is a company where I want to see myself grow and where I want to see myself, be there as an employee, it looks like a lot of company wants. And then if I want to see a change and if I want to see that impact that I bring, looks like a lot of company 2. Raising to top is easy, but sustaining is key. That is a very good challenge even for company 1, right? So as a coach, yes, you would see probably a lot of impact coming to you soon from company 2. But even on company 1, there's a lot of challenges because now it's about sustainment and staying there. Which one pays more? Okay, yes, that is true. There's nothing I can do about that, right? That always comes up, and there is always some truth in that. Well, I don't know. I would prefer company 1 myself because it's that sustaining part. How can we raise the bar? If we think that we are so good, how can we raise the bar? But absolutely a lot of opportunities for company 2. You would see bringing an impact very quickly because of there's so much opportunities. Well, oops, no. I went back instead of going forward. So moving forward, I want to talk now a little bit what I observed. How come 2 companies in the same conditions, market condition, political condition, with access to everything, how come 2 different companies perform so differently, right? How did company 1 manage to beat competition, stay ahead of market, and lead the market? So a little bit about me. Vinay introduced me. I'm an agile coach. I like to work with business. I like to work with products. I build teams that build wonderful products, and they look beyond what you are told to do. Just read the book and follow the book, but look beyond that and bring your own experience, your own expertise, your own thinking, and improve on everything that is you are doing right now, no matter what, in process, in product, in customer service, in people growth, and everything. I like to travel. I've been to India twice. I love there. It's wonderful. People are amazing and so welcoming. And this is a picture actually from Portugal that I got in one of the places there. But I love to travel, and when things are open, I'd love to travel a little bit more. So what I'm going to bring here is some observations that I had. I'm not talking anything, any assumptions. I'm not making any theory. I'm only going to speak about things that I observed myself, that I saw myself, that I noticed what happened. And I'm going to split them into different categories, starting with leadership. So what did I observe on leadership when working with both these organizations? So I want to start with the fact that when you are in the same conditions, you have access to the same people, resources, consultancies, books, everything, that unfair advantage that you want, it's going to become leadership. Leadership is what makes or breaks, right? Leadership is going to be the one that is going to make the whole difference in an environment where you have access to everything. In company one, leadership embraced, leadership allowed when people were saying, well, we are making billions. Why do we care to bring agile and get better? We're doing great. We are number one in a lot of things. We are making billions. Who cares? And leadership in that organization never, ever, ever accepted that as a good thing, as an answer. They always went back and said, no, that is not how we are happy. That is not how we measure our success. Change is coming. The future is going to be more difficult. Margins are getting smaller and closer, and we are not going to be able to be leaders in the market if we continue to work like this. We have to change. We have to prepare ourselves for the future, and we have to find that new ways of embracing the change and embracing this complexity that is coming around us, because we want to continue to stay number one. That sustainability that someone brought up, right? We need to, it's hard to sustain that leadership when things change around you. On the second company, the leadership was like, yeah, we're doing great. I mean, yeah, 10% improvement, it's fine. Like that's okay. Yes, you are right. We are making billions. We are great. But let's see what can we improve, right? So it was not a strong leadership to lead with this this change, not a great vision to bring to everybody in the organization. The second thing that I observed regarding leadership was that you need to know what to measure. Right? You need to know what is the impact you want to make and how to measure about that impact. And there is this thing that until now, a lot of organizations have measured their success based on their shareholders. If shareholders were happy, we're doing great. And things are changing, right? Many organizations in US, many organizations even in Canada, are talking more and more about that feedback from not just shareholders, but also customers and also employees. It's now 3 shareholders, not just the ones that have the investments. So a lot of organizations have started changing and measuring the impact that they want to make in all these 3 categories, because they want to see that they are making a better impact in the world. It's not anymore just I'm a bank or I'm an insurance or I'm a telco and I'm just going to do what I need to do. It's about now bringing your impact even in your community, even in your environment. So there is more than just bringing more money in the organization. It's more than just making shareholders happy, right? We need to create now these environments that support bigger purposes. And company one did a very good one on that, good job on that, because they have this community. They have a very strong message about we are here to support our communities, and communities wherever they are, right? Wherever we have a presence, we want to support the community around us. So every area where they were in Canada, they bring talent that helps the people that are around that area. If there are farmers, they bring people that are very knowledgeable and experts into helping farmers. And if there is a rural area, right, an urban area, if there is like an area that is growing a lot, they bring people that help with mortgages, right? Because People are buying more houses. So depending on where their presence was, they created a lot of help for the community based on the community needs. Another thing that I learned from leadership, that I observed on leadership, is to stay true to your purpose. So what I was saying, like, you have a bigger purpose. We are not here just to make money and just to bring, value to shareholders. But sometimes staying true to purpose becomes challenging. It's hard, right? When things change very often, or market changes and there is a disruption, it is hard. The leadership in the organization one never changed the purpose. They stayed true to the purpose. They said, how can we still achieve our purpose by adjusting what we're doing? Let's change our approach. Let's adjust. Let's pivot. Let's do whatever we need to do, but our purpose stay true. And that is very powerful, because that sends a message to everybody, from shareholders, from employees, from customers, to understand that we are not here just changing our sails as the wind goes, but we are here we have a clear direction. We want to go to that direction, and when things get tough, we adjust. And that was a very clear message. On the complexity side, this was a very interesting one that I'm going to take with me everywhere I go. On company one, complexity was treated as, it is here. It is not something that it can be simplified. It is complex. Things are complex. Let's learn how to deal with them. On the company two, however, the message was simplify things. And the message that you send when you tell people to simplify things is that, you have made things complex and everything can be simple. And you are ignoring, or you are not seeing opportunities where actually complexity is there. It can be simplified, and you have to embrace it in order for it to become your friend, right? With organizations bringing more and more, artificial intelligence and machine learning and all these deep learning, all these new technologies that are complex, are really evolving, very dynamic. We cannot tell people that you now just need to simplify things. By embracing complexity, and I'm pretty sure probably yesterday Dave Snowden talked to you about all of this, by embracing complexity, company one gave permission and made it okay for everyone to, go ahead and experiment. Go ahead and lead with hypothesis. What do you think is going to happen? Try something out. If that doesn't work, what did you learn and what would you do next? So company one definitely brought that thinking in place, definitely embraced the experimentation, while company two was just focused on simplify, make things simple. And that made a huge difference on the way people were looking at work. So this was leadership. I'm going to move to the employees and roles. What did I observe there? Well, oops, I keep doing that. I need to push the right button. So on the employees and role, I think on both sides, people were eager to learn, people were eager to evolve and grow and have better experiences. I can't say enough about how much on both sides I noticed appetite for growth and for bringing new and better things to work. We need to help them. We need to help them with that. Company one actually helped people to grow. Company two, with employees leaving, was a good sign that they were not finding the support. I worked with a Scrum Master, and after 4 months working with her, she said to me, I have learned more in these 4 months working with you than I have learned in the 4 years working in this organization. This company hasn't given me opportunities and tools to actually learn things the right way. I have just followed the book. I have just done what I was told to do. And now I can see what's going on. And unfortunately, she left the organization and she found a better opportunity, and she is very happy about that. I don't know if that is my fault, but I want you to understand that in your organizations, if people don't have those opportunities, they will see that the opportunities are out there and they will go and reach them because they want to grow. People do want to grow. The other thing that I notice is that attachment to roles and titles. Company one learned that they need to protect people, they need to keep people, and they disconnected themselves from roles and titles. They said it's okay for some roles to go. We are evolving. We are moving to a more digital, more collaborative way of working. Some roles don't fit anymore. Some titles are not needed anymore. That doesn't mean that we're going to fire these people. That doesn't mean that we're going to let them go. That means that we need to evolve and move these people away from these roles and these titles to something else that is more fitting for our future, right? That is such a key element, because now you have employees that have been with you for a long time. They have a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience of your systems, of your customers, of the way you run the business, but they just take now that experience and they evolve it in a new role. When I say some roles are okay to go, I mean some of these agile teams that are delivering 10, 15 times a day, they don't have Scrum Masters. And it was a big deal initially. How are we going to have agile teams without Scrum Masters? Well, they had coaches. Coaches were helping the teams, but the duties of the Scrum Masters were shared within the team members. And that allowed the team to grow faster, for everybody in the team to understand what was needed to be done. And literally, I have to say, they took it, they run with it, they grew faster than the teams that had Scrum Masters. So I'm not saying that this organization doesn't have Scrum Masters anymore, but with some examples of some teams not having Scrum Masters, they are considering, where do we want to go going forward? We're not going to fire our Scrum Masters because they have a lot of knowledge, but they are growing into more like portfolio leaders and leading across many teams and not just one team. So opportunities are being given and opportunities are being evolved and grow. Another thing around employees is about nourishing and making them leaders. The more you give them, the more you empower them, the more you give them opportunities to, make certain decisions, the more they become leaders that you want to see. Unfortunately, on the company too, VP and AVP roles were just glorified project managers, right? Everything that was done on the team, there were project managers on the team, there were Scrum Masters on the team. They would roll up and all decisions would go to AVP, which was another project manager, but with more experience and more visibility. And then would go up to a VP, again, acting like a project manager with more experience and more visibility. That was very sad to see, because we want roles like VP and AVP to be leaders, to have vision, to lead more with a strategy and to live in the future. But unfortunately here, they were being tactical. They were very close to day. Is this project finished? What are the finances? Rather than allowing the team to deal with that and they to look forward. So create those leaders in the roles of the people that they are closer to the problem, give them that opportunity. And then the higher you are in the organization when it comes to leadership roles, the more you need to be closer to strategy, to growing people, to preparing for the future rather than the tactical. The other thing on people, they will do their best. They will work hard. As I said, on both organizations, I've seen people doing their best. But depending on the systems that you create, they are going to be either care and go out of their way to solve challenges, or they're just going to say, okay, I'm going to wait here for you to tell me what to do. And this is the behavior then, oh, we don't have engaged employees. Well, you have created an environment where employees don't feel engaged, where employees have a hard time bringing a change, where employees are not supported for growth. On the other side, employees were engaged. Well, they were brought in, they were given that opportunity to be engaged and to bring solutions and to bring their voice on the table. So this is about the employees. I'm going to touch a little bit also on the frameworks. What did I observe on the frameworks? Well, as I said, mentioned earlier, Organization 2 was trying to create their own framework. And they are in that second phase of creating their framework. When combined with their governance model, it just became a new waterfall. And it just became more reinforced that control mindset, and it blocked innovation. I have to give you an example. They had, at the beginning of the project, they say, okay, the project is going to be either agile or either waterfall. Pick one, right? You cannot do, you cannot do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. No, you pick one or the other one. And based on that, you're going to follow a different book. If you pick agile, a different book. Great. We picked agile. And now that you pick agile, you have to have sprints, and sprints have to be 2 weeks. And I worked with the group that I worked with about the security. It was the data and information security and the whole website of the organization security. A lot of things, a lot of their work type didn't fit Scrum because they had to deal with attacks, they had to deal with challenges that came up, they had to do some research and development on several pen tests and things that came up, right? The Kanban was a better approach for them. However, Kanban didn't fit the agile framework that was created for them that was like, oh no, you have to have these 2 week sprints. So we had to go around and we had to, game the system and say, yeah, we are agile, but our sprints are 4 weeks. And meanwhile, we were doing Kanban. It was really sad to see the limitations that were brought because of this governance and because of the need to follow the frameworks. On the other organization, these were absolutely no issue. Nobody would even care about how to present this. They were going to say the teams had a lot of power to decide on the process that they wanted to do. And if they wanted to do a little bit of Scrum with some Kanban and sprinkles of DevOps and XP, bring it all, right? There was no restrictions on that. And innovation actually flourishes in these environments because now people have that freedom to bring different practices.
Hi, Ardita.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. You have 10 minutes more, so just to have a time check here.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Thank you. The other thing on the framework, the models that large consultancies bring are not going to put you ahead of competition. And please prepare for this. It's always the case. Consultancies are learning with you. Consultancies have the same access to the same resources and information that you have. They have some experience that have learned probably from your competition. And when they come to you, they are going to sell to you something that your competition did or is doing and is ahead of you already. So whatever the consultancies bring to you, take it with a grain of salt. You are not going to be ahead of the market. You are not beating your competition because you're going to do what the consultants tell you to do. You are still learning where your competition is with what they bring, right? You are learning, oh, my competition is doing this and this, and I am here, I might be behind, but I'm still, I can see what's going on. Am I going to do exactly what my competition does? Some follow those consultant rules and hope that they, based on that, they will get ahead. I have not seen that putting organizations ahead. I have seen that as bringing some improvements for sure, bringing you to a better place where you are, but you are not going to compete with that because your competition is already ahead of you. Waterfall and agile are not a 0-1 game, and to go back to that example of the company too, you are either a waterfall project or you are either an agile project. That is not helping. There actually are more projects that are at waterfall because it's easier for them to do the waterfall versus agile. So you think you are opening the door for agile, but you are making it hard. So people go back and do the old thing. On the company one, agility was democratized, right? Because the teams were given the opportunity to use any practices they want, they can choose waterfall, they can choose agile, they can choose any frameworks from any of, they can choose RUP, whatever they wanted. They allowed that learning mindset to be used and to be embraced by everyone in the team by democratizing agility, by democratizing the access to all these practices and tools. And that's why now they don't talk anymore about frameworks. Now they don't talk about, oh, am I doing this? Am I doing that? They're just doing things, right? They're just following whatever makes sense for them. So I'm about to close here, and I just want to say that I checked. I really checked. I went to Amazon and I said, is there something that says my organization's handbook? And that book is not written yet. The result here says no results for this book. It is not written, is never going to be written. You have to write this book yourself. You have to write the rules of how do you want your organization to work? How do you want your people, shareholder, and customers to work with you? And you have to find what is true for you, because at the end of the day, none of this is possible if you follow. If you follow a framework, if you follow what leaders on the other organizations are doing, if you follow what technology someone else is embracing, if you follow, you are never going to lead. You need to learn how to lead, right? We need to learn how to lead and how to write our own handbook with authenticity. Every organization, every leader is authentic and needs to bring their purpose, their authenticity, their style. That supports that purpose. As I said, it's not anymore about making money for shareholders. There are bigger purposes that organizations embrace. And you need to count on our people, right? Don't throw people away. Don't let them go. Let the roles go, but grow people and count on your people to help you move forward. And I think I am on time for even some questions, right? If you like this, I'd love to keep talking. You can contact me either on Twitter or on LinkedIn. Happy to chat and happy to even answer any question from what I just talked about. Oh, a lot of hearts. Thank you. I'm just going back to the screen now. Yeah, I hope you got something that you can take with you, even like tomorrow. You are welcome. I'm reading a lot of thank yous, and yeah, thank you for the comments.
Okay. Yeah. Rita.
Exactly.
Yeah. Thanks for your wonderful talk. And yes, I guess everybody agrees upon that. Like we have to write our own organization book, right? So that handbook we have to create and build that. So okay, that's good. And I guess I would just like to thank you for your time and putting up all your thought here. I know you have to stay back for the team award also. So
Yes,
we'll be meeting
I'm
there
looking for,
again.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, yeah, you will hear lots of different team organization, how they have done their success journey and all, right? So good to have you there as well.
Thank you. Looking forward to that. I'll see you later.